There's money to be made as long as you are smart. Know where you get it and where you get out. Read charts and follow your own plan. Don't listen to jokers, don't fall for scams. Cash for setups and read market charts. Going to cash is a trade, it's not just you or out. Check in with your key at the very start. No expectations on the trade, just execute. Going to cash is a trade, it's not just you or out. Check in with your key at the very start. No expectations on the trade, just execute.
Well, welcome Outliers to training day here at OVTLYR headquarters. Got my very good friend and fellow Alpha University graduate David with me here. He's going to talk to us about Thinkorswim. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, you know, we're just coming off the back of this downturn in gold and
just a little downturn in gold. Yes.
That's right. We're in early February here as we're recording, so gold and silver have both taken a bit of a tank. But the question is, how could you get on these nice big upturns, and how could you protect yourself at the event that something like this could happen? I think that's what we need to find out, Dave.
I think so too.
I'll tell you my journey. My journey is I found Christopher Ewell on YouTube, and he is the CMO for OVTLYR. I saw the price of OVTLYR. I saw that I could do a free trial and prove out that it was a tool for me, and I went for it. Now, right after I became a subscriber, I got access to OVTLYR.com, and I got this button here called My Account. And I noticed once I went in there, I've got this interface that's brand new to me. There's so much data here. There's lots of colors. There's lots of lines. There's news feeds. And honestly, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start. but I noticed in the welcome email when I became a subscriber, it was pointing me to this little gear right here at the bottom right. I hopped into that gear and I found documentation. Now, this documentation goes through step by step each of the screens, and it talks about what each of the screens mean, how to log in, what am I supposed to be understanding from those screens, right? So if you read through here, you're going to find out ways to, for instance, how to save your favorite ticker. Like if it's a stock that you think are going to have some signals opening up, maybe you want to save it. Maybe you want to get an alert that day of when you're going to have a buy signal. Or maybe you're already in and you need to pay attention to OVTLYR sell signals. This is how Chris does that. He clicks on this star here and he puts it into his favorites. But then there's also some answers to maybe some more common questions we see at the tech team here at OVTLYR is, for instance, what on earth is the heat map? When Chris is talking about a heat map, what's he even talking about? And it goes into here saying, well, it's related to fear and greed. It gives scores and colors based on scores. It tells you what is the red area, what is the green area, what to pay attention to, for instance. Gives you a visual of the fear and greed heat map itself. Now, ignore this circle here. That's supposed to be following my mouse to kind of highlight where my mouse is, but you know, we're live, so it's broken.
We're live, yeah.
That's right. So as a new OVTLYR, this helped me quite a lot. And fellow new customers, trial members, subscribers, give this a shot and see, you know, if your questions can be answered. And again, that was over here in settings and it was under gear. And then the next thing you're going to want to know is How do I get the slide deck? How do I follow along with Chris as he's trading in the 2026 U.S. Investing Championship? Well, again, in that welcome email, there were some instructions telling me where to get the slides. It points you to Discord, points you to the FAQ and member contributions section. And in here, you can find lots of resources. And one we're going to talk about here is the slide deck itself. And just as a heads up, another one we're going to talk about with Dave is Thinkorswim. There's a ton of other resources here. There's indicators for TradingView, your DeepThought indicators here, your outlier value zone if you're a plan ETF student, that's in here. There's a portfolio manager in here. There's instructions about how to do verification with Discord if you're having any trouble. Lots of great content. But let's have a look at the slide decks, because the slide decks are what are going to show you the signals, and they're the signals that Chris follows every day in the trading room. You might be asking yourself at the beginning of the day, can I trade any of Chris's plans on paper? Now, I say on paper because that's how you learn. That's a great way to trade the market with no risk. But as you're developing your plan, you want to actually follow the plan, because it's going to tell you if you can emotionally trade it. It's going to give you some data that you can then backtest against to adjust your plans. So if you're going to learn to be a trader, you want to paper trade as if it's reality.
Yep. 100%. You know, and let me add to that, paper trade is really a great way to learn your trading platform. Learn the ins and outs of it, you know, with no harm, no foul. You know, if you click the wrong button, it's not going to cost you, you know, your car. You know, it gives you an opportunity to really play with different things, look at strategies, build your own set of rules, but learn how to use your platform inside and out. Because, man, you know, we're going to get into in Thinkorswim here in a bit. There are so many tools in here that most people never, ever look at inside Thinkorswim that are invaluable. I mean, they make all the difference in the world. And man, paper trading, learn the system. That's what it's there for, truly.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I personally paper traded futures. I found out that I cannot emotionally trade futures, Dave. you have to stare.
There's some emotional roller coasters in futures, let me tell you.
That's now, right.
But to that point, let's talk about this, because we're talking about gold and everything else. If you had taken a gold trade with a single mini contract on Thursday morning, let's say Wednesday you woke up and said, God, it's just going up and up. I'm going to take a trade. I think it's going to keep going. A mini futures contract, if you had not dumped it immediately, that mini future contract at the extreme ends would have cost you $100,000 in losses. Wow. Think about that before you trade futures. Think about that before you get into areas you don't know anything about. That's the reality. The swing we had between Thursday and Friday, the upper extremes, it actually was more than that. It was actually probably $130,000. That's the reality of it. I mean, what we saw last week was a massive, massive move. I won't say unprecedented, because the market goes back a little ways, a little further than all of us. But that move was proportionately larger than anything else we've seen in the last several decades.
Wow.
So, Think about that before you jump into futures. I have seen trades that have gone, you know, I mean, personally, I have made 5 figures inside of my record was 47 seconds.
Holy.
Because I caught a Trump speech just right. And man, everything lined up. And I saw where my profit loss was, and I just hit get out. You know,
wow.
I wasn't going to risk that kind of a win turning into that kind of a loss. But truly, futures, very dangerous. Be very cognizant of what you're doing, because I'm telling you, those moves like that, you know, when you talk emotions in futures, it's real. Very real.
I tell you what, I'm glad that I discovered again that I cannot emotionally trade futures. I can't stare at the chart that long and actually follow my plan and actually take my exit signals. I just couldn't do it. Luckily, I didn't lose real money on that, so it was a good experience. Yeah. So let's say you do want to have a good chance at making some profits. Now, profits never guaranteed. This is not financial advice. This is the stock market. You never know. All you can do is follow the trend, right? So that's going to bring us into slide number 6. Slide 6 is what you see Chris start out his day with, where he's trying to see if he can take his most profitable plan. This is the plan that he uses first because it has the highest expectancy. If he knows, based on backtested data, if he takes as many trades as he can handle once the signals are open, he has a likelihood of being profitable for the year. So he looks at Plan M. By the way, Plan M are swing signals. You're going to find out a little bit more about that. And he sees, can I get into this? Now, if he can't, he goes into Plan ETF. He looks and sees, as a defensive strategy, can I trade any of the Plan ETF signals? So he's not trading an individual stock share or options contract. He's trading an ETF. In his case, it's a leveraged ETF, which of course comes with additional risk. So before you do that, make sure you understand what a leveraged asset is. And again, paper trade this thing because you may find that, again, a leveraged asset isn't for you. And ultimately, if he cannot trade either of those two plans, he's going to sit in cash. In this case, he's going to trade SGov, which gives you around 4% a year. And it has its own strategy, but we're just giving intros here. We're trying to show you where the different resources are as a new customer. And so let's slide down to Plan M. We're going to show you where you find out that this is swing signals, and it is right here. Plan M is swing signals. And how do you relate that to the OVTLYR platform? You hop on over to OVTLYR, you hit the drop down, and you select swing signals. Now, there is a plan for active signals. It's called Plan A. However, the data essentially shows just trade Plan M. Plan A is active signals. If you're someone who really has to feel busy, has to feel like they have to be doing something, there's going to be more active signals than swing signals. Maybe Plan A is for you. What you could do, if you want to be a very busy person, again, busy does not equal profit, but if you want to be a busy person, paper trade Plan A. You'll never have an active signal unless you already have a swing signal. So someone trading Plan M may be in it for longer than you as an active trader. Maybe the outcomes are vastly different. Hard to say. As I said, paper trade it, see what is right for you, adjust the plan to be a plan that you can actually follow. So let's have a look at slide 7. Again, beginning of Chris's day, once he wants to look at Plan M, he goes through each of these signals one by one. These are all market signals here on the left, and 40% of a stock move is based on the market. If the market's not going up, why would the stock have a great chance of going up, right? So you need to follow the market first. The first 3, as I said, SPY signals. We can get all of those bits of information from the same exact screen. We're just going to go over to the dashboard. We are going to type in SPY because that's what the slide says. We're looking for signals against. Here's SPY. And the first thing we're going to look for on the slide deck is the trend, and the second is the buy signal. So it's super obvious to see what the trend is. The trend is up. How do I know? The background's green. Also, the blue line, which is the 10 exponential moving average, in this case 10-day moving average, is the blue. It's above the black line, which is the 20 period moving average, and the price is above the 50, which is the red line. How do I know the price is above the 50? Well, the red line's way down here and the price is way up here. So we have an upwards trend in SPY. And the second signal was, does the SPY have a buy? Well, we know it has a buy because it's listed right here. It's also listed right here. That leads us to the last SPY signal for market, the SPY Fear and Greed Heatmap. that's this section here. And this is what we were talking about when we started this presentation. We were looking at the user guide. We looked into the user guide for the heat map section. We got our definition of the heat map. We learned that as the heat map is increasing, we're getting more buy signals inside the SPY. If the heat map is decreasing, meaning getting more fearful, we have less stocks inside SPY that have a buy signal. In other words, they have a sell signal. If you have more stocks having sell signals, then the SPY fear and greed is going down. So in this particular example on February 3rd, we're going to just hover over the columns right here, and I'm looking right here, trying to get this number right here. I'm looking for the number to be changing, and we're going to find out which change we want. What do we got? 15, 56.15, 56.0, 55.98. Every one of those is smaller than the last. So we know that the fear and greed is declining. We go back to our spreadsheet. We're looking for under 70 and rising. Well, we have half of it. It's under 70. The problem is it's falling. So we're going to be blocked right here. We're not going to get past this signal, which means we don't even go to this signal. And if we don't go to this signal, we don't even go for sectors. Again, the market is what's going to carry the price up in likelihood. So Chris would stop right there. However, full stocks market breadth. Let's look at that, Dave. Let's find out where we have.
Let me use an analogy for you here, Joe. Back up to that slide for just a minute.
Yep.
The market, that's your feet. You got to be on a stable platform, period. The sector, that's your core. Is your core stable? The stock, that's your mind. Does the mind, have you finally gotten to this point where everything is lined up and now you're ready to trigger and move forward? Think of it that way. You got to be on a stable platform. You know, I've mentioned in other videos, I was a competitive shooter for years on the national Olympic level. Never made it to the Olympics because of an injury, but that was the way I shot. Everything started with the core, with the base, the foundation, my feet. Then you went to the core. I had to be rock solid, stable. And then the mind, I had to be in the mindset where it was ready to move forward. If you're not in that mindset, you know, if the mind isn't there, if everything, the analysis hasn't happened, doesn't work. And every single thing you do has to line up for your success. You don't skip the sector. If the market's great, the sector is horrible, you don't jump in and go buy the stock. The world, the universe is telling you there's something wrong. Listen to it.
That's a great analogy, Dave. Thanks for that.
You bet.
Awesome. All right. So we got through our SPY signals. We got down here to full market breadth. How do we check that? Still in OVTLYR, we're going to go over to the market breadth icon here on the right. It's going to open up a brand new screen. The only way you've seen this before is if you watch Chris's videos. And remember, if you're a subscriber, you get access to the trading room on the day the video is recorded. You get to see his trades live, all of his 2026 U.S. Investing Championships trades live. You get to see me try to record his trades on Discord while he's trading them, which can be fun.
I don't want to keep up with him.
That's right.
Joe.
That's right. The first thing you see Chris do on the screen is zoom in. He's interested in this section right over here. And in the default view, you can't quite tell what that's showing. So he comes over and he grabs this slider right here, moves it all the way over to the right to the point where he's zoomed in enough he can actually see what these lines are doing. Now, you got a bull list percent line. And you should also have a 10 EMA line. If you don't, just click this fellow right here. When the green line, the bull list percent line, is below the 10 EMA line, you are not in a bullish trend in full stocks market breadth, right? You want this green line to be above the 10 EMA line right here. So again, we're going to get to this signal on February 3rd, and we're not going to be trying to do a plan M trade, because this is not set up appropriate. So you might be asking yourself, what on earth is a bull list percent? Where could we find it? We could find it back in the documentation right in here. We're going to be able to slide down to market breadth details, and it's going to tell us what is bullish percent. So again, take advantage of these resources. You get the visual indication pointing out what it is on the screen that you're not quite understanding, as well as giving you definition. So very, very good resources. And also training videos. We have a ton of training videos. If you go to YouTube, go to Outlier Training with Joe, you're going to see playlists. So I organized the videos kind of based on topic. If you're very new to Outlier, you're going to want to pay attention to Outlier Training. If you're interested in learning, as I did, literally watching as I learned moment by moment with my fellow Alpha University student, Dave, you're going to click on this playlist. Let's just go in there and check that out, Dave, because, you know, we're kind of proud of it, aren't we?
We kind of are. Yeah.
So these go in order. Alpha University lesson 1 all the way down to lesson 21. You get to see us ask questions that we had no idea what we were asking. I mean, maybe, you know, Dave, as a seasoned trader, had way more clue than the rest of us. But, you know, there's no question that should go unasked when you're talking about your future and potentially becoming a trader with live money. You really need to know what you're doing. So that's a great resource. We also have playlists specific to options trading. You're going to learn that Chris trades options with Plan M, which again are a leveraged asset. They're risky, but there's specific reasons why he does that. If you want to find out those reasons, look into rolling trades. For instance, if you go to the 2026 Investing Championship Trade playlist, you are literally going to see him roll trades. At the beginning, you see him get into trades. The next videos down, you see him rolling trades. And then let's see, most recent one, he talks about why he would not trade over earnings. So if you wanted to see what is the topic of the video outside of the title itself, what you can do is click on the video itself, and then you can go to the description of the video. In the description, it tells everything that is discussed. It even points out where in the video the topic is discussed. So if I wanted to talk about, or if I wanted to learn about the plan, sit in cash and don't F up your portfolio entry, I might click this link right here. And it just fast forward to that section. It's fantastic. Now, when you ask questions in our training channel inside Discord, which is obtained right here under training, all of our new members are in this channel. I'm typically going to point you towards a video. And the reason I do that is you need to learn at your own pace, and you need to be able to rewind, and you need to be able to hear it more than one time when you're asking a complex question like, why on earth did Chris pick strike 50 at expiration April 17th? Why did he do that? Well, you can literally be pointed to the point in the video, and he explains why he's doing what he's doing. Other times, I'm going to point you to a video where I'm doing a reaction to what is Chris doing. I'll play his video. I'll say, look, Chris just did this, or Chris is going to do this, and this is why he's doing it. So you're going to get pointed to videos themselves, and I'll typically point out where in the video you need to go look. I would recommend watching the entire video because you're going to have questions other than what you specifically asked. But in this case, this person was talking about adding indicators. You've seen Chris use the DeepThought indicator and the Outlier Value Zone indicator. I was pointing out to this person that if he wants to watch a video that tells him how to add indicators, this is the section of the video. This is the title. And for instance, if this person is a Thinkorswim user, they could get intro to Thinkorswim indicators right here. Now, Dave, that might be an amazing segue to, to your area of expertise, which is, in my opinion, Thinkorswim as a brokerage tool. So, Dave, I'll turn it over to you. Let me actually bring up where we get the indicator first, though.
Yeah, let's bring that up, and then we'll start there. We'll start with the my Thinkorswim indicator, just as kind of a quick, easy. Let's walk through it real fast and show everybody.
So what I did was I went to FAQ and member contributions. I clicked on the Think or Swim channel, and over here you have some commentary from Dave. You have the indicator itself, and all right, Dave, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, awesome. So let's jump into the indicator right now. Let me find my share a screen button here. Share a screen. Okay, and because I've got several things running here. Okay, so here is there we go. Here's the Thinkorswim platform. I'm just running it under a single chart so we can have it all blown up for us. And this is my indicator. So we all know the DeepThought indicator for TradingView. This is the equivalent that we have right now for Thinkorswim. And just very simply, I've got it programmed right now just for a $100,000 account at 2.5% risk. So it goes through and it calculates, everything that you'd want on that. Come on, clear. It's a drop-down menu for some preset stuff. But it'll go through and, Plan M is active. It tells us the number of contracts, the number of shares based on the risk profile and the dollars and all of that good stuff. But more importantly, we have order blocks. We have basically the areas of resistance are in red. I color coded these. A lot of the programs won't color code the individual order blocks. I want to say, hey, this is resistance or this is support. Simple red, green. So as we come up here, and this is TE, which is T1 Energy. This is a trade I happen to be in right now. As we look at it, we've got basically an order block way below where we are. It's climbing up. It's kind of been sitting in consolidation for several days now, but that's also the market as well. But the gray zone, I graded out here. This is the value zone. So we have the main calculations happening here, the ATRs, the contracts, all of that good stuff. But we also have the value zone overlay that happens. So it goes through and triggers, and you'll see a label right here. Value zone is active. And then from there, it automatically overlays the EMAs. Those are built into this. So you have a one-stop shop for pretty much everything that Chris looks at on his charts. It's everything you basically need to get started with what we're all doing here. So one thing I am going to show everybody here, this is in testing right now. So this is a sneak peek to what's coming. I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to turn this one on. This is the next generation of order blocks. I don't know if you've even seen this yet, Joe, but this is the next generation. And in this case, I'm using a blended model. So the blended model identifies, you can choose between institutional, structural, which is retail, or a blended model of the two. Okay, so one of the things that I have found in my research, whoops, wrong button. Okay, one of the things I have found in my research is that most institutional orders and order blocks are generated within the body of the candle. And we can look at the individual volumes that generate those and start looking and saying, hey, this is bigger than a retail order block. You may have a high-end retail person out there or just a lot of retail coming together. But when it starts detecting large singular orders, now we can start painting institutional order blocks. So in this case, it's kind of interesting. It turns gray once that order block is cleared. And so it climbs up. We've got an order block that we're sitting in right here, right now, which adds up to what we're seeing in the market right now for this. You can see we're kind of going sideways here based on what this candle right here did. So it's a little faster of a response overall. It's not quite as delayed as the old version. And then it rolls into, that order block so we can watch it. And as you can see, it's fighting in this order block. It's gotten out a couple times. It's come back down. Yesterday it fought, but it stayed in that block. So I'm still in back testing on this. I'm still playing with it, tweaking it a little bit. When it's ready to be released into the wild, we'll throw it out there. I will probably set it up in the system that you can use, you know, the new order block system or the old order block system under the my super indicator, I think is what I called it for everybody. But this is an option that we have coming out here. This is something I've been working on. So it should be pretty good.
Now, when you release that, Dave, that'll be in the same location we shown the audience earlier.
Location. So it'll be under the FAQ section on the Discord under Thinkorswim. I think we have a Thinkorswim just in general for everything related to Thinkorswim. We will have it put in there once I'm ready to release it into the wild. It's pretty close. I'm actually really appreciating the information, the data that it gives. It's a little clearer cut and seems to be working a little smoother than the other one. So, which is great. You know, again, this is an evolution. And, you know, as we're writing these scripts, this is stuff nobody ever really looked at before. So it is an evolution, which is great. That's what we want.
Do you have a question for you, Dave? Is that the desktop version?
Yes, this is the desktop version. These scripts, these custom scripts will not run on the phones. They will not run in the app version at all. The app versions, you know, unfortunately, you're just out of luck on those. There's no way to get the data that we're trying to push through and the analysis that we're pushing through on that. So, yeah, so the next question, do the roll point stick? Those are my marks. So in this case, you can see where I bought TE at. You can see where I rolled it at. And in this case, this is kind of an oddball because it's a barbell approach that I took. I didn't just pick 1 month, one option, you know, one set of options. I actually barbelled this. So I have in the money options on one and out of the money options on the second one on the back month. And I did that basically testing a new strategy a little bit, something that I think is going to be a longer term hold. If you look at the overall trend that we've seen here versus putting all my eggs in the front month basket, I'm splitting the basket just a little bit to kind of mitigate some of the political turmoil that we're seeing in the world right now and give it a little bit more balance. So that is a kind of a test here, but it goes through. I marked based on my ATRs up on the top of the screen here. When I purchased, I hit my purchase number. I hit my one ATR. I hit my -2 ATR here. So I knew what they were. And if I zoom out here a little more, you can see I've got my 2 + 2, my +3 ATRs. All of that's based on the original purchase. So they're not dynamic. They aren't going to move. They are, you know, cast in stone because that's what the trade was. When I entered it, those are the rules I'm following. So, but using this, I can quickly come in, just as an example here, I can quickly come in, draw a line, edit the properties, and I can say, let's just put 2-3, let's say it's a 3 ATR. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to enter my price. My price on the 3 ATR is 12.17. And let's make it a pretty, I don't know, let's make it this color. Boom. Now, when I zoom out, it actually happened to land. If we zoom in here, it landed right here. So just that quick, I was able to enter in my ATR value. So once you hit purchase, you can go in and hit. I always hit my exit first. So I go down, I hit my negative, and I hit my positive numbers. And this takes me 30 seconds to have all of my charting done in Thinkorswim. And it's just something that, you know, you can do quickly and easily. And, you know, it works great for me. So
awesome. So we heard a couple of really interesting things there, Dave. We heard that you don't necessarily follow Chris's plan M, plan ETF planning. So what that tells me is you have decided that either you found something with a little different expectancy, or based on your experience as a trader, there's some other signals that you're looking for. Ultimately, though, you took a plan, you made it your own, and you're constantly updating it as signals need to be updated. So you're doing your own backtesting.
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I am. So I have my system, and I take the outlier signals every morning when they come in, when it's time to trade, when it's actually a, you know, a trading environment. I take my own signal, or the signals out of Ovtlyr. I sort them quickly based on the outlier signal return and the capital efficiency. I want to look at both of those. I throw them up. I throw the spreadsheet into ChatGPT. I tell it to sort everything, and then I tell it, give me the top 20 tickers based on this information. So it spits out the top 20 ticker symbols. I then take that, I cut and paste it into a list I already have specially built. I auto-populate it into a screen that I have 20 different tickers in, or 20 different charts in. Those give me, based on my rules, are these going to have a positive expectancy or negative expectancy? And then I take them, I drag them over, because you can click this, you can click your ticker signal and drag it into another chart and auto-populate it. So I filter from 20 down to 4, 5, 6, and then I look at the individual ones under a bigger screen individually. So I'm able to sort all of the outlier data. I mean, if we had 100 signals, I could still sort it, come down to my final 3, 4, 5 picks, whatever they are, in a matter of 5 minutes. It is quick
awesome.
And easy.
Very
but
quick.
I've built a back test inside of Thinkorswim based on my rules, my exits, my risk tolerance, and I can quickly see, is it green or is it red? Does this stock like my style of trading or not? Because there's a difference between growth stocks, value stocks, tech, energy. Some like it, some don't. Not all stocks are equal. They do not behave the same. And, the sooner everybody realizes that, the better off they're going to be in trading.
Yeah.
Not every signal is a signal you take. Every signal is basically a trigger to do more research and figure out if it works.
Yeah,
so,
I totally agree here with what Don is saying. Dave does operate at a different level. Not only is he taller than the average man, he's also smarter than the average man.
Yep.
So you mentioned a couple of things here I wanted to point out. So I just pulled up Tesla, random example, and I clicked on performance summary. So it's going to give us the performance summary for the ticker Tesla. You mentioned the outlier signal return, which in this case we're comparing to buy and hold, and you also mentioned capital efficiency, right?
Yeah.
So these are two factors that you personally use in your plan. And then another place you can find those little pieces of information is in the screener itself.
Yeah.
Once you open up the screener, it's going to run through all the stocks and all the signals, and it's going to give you both the signal return, which you just heard Dave say he uses as a bit of a filter criteria, and that's also what Chris does. And he also mentioned capital efficiency here. So these are where you can get those two pieces of information. So we won't go into that deeply, right? Because this is a bit of a beginner video here, and we're kind of
we won't get into that too much.
Yeah, focus on Thinkorswim. However, we have many videos in the training channel that go into those topics. But one that I do want to cover is a bit of the TradingView charting. We had a specific question around how to make templates. Now, you saw Dave draw some lines. So when he goes into his entries, he draws some lines, and he does that in Thinkorswim. And the reason is that's his broker of choice, and they have a really good tool for you to interface with your trades. Right now, Chris uses TradingView for his charting and his markups. So we see him use the DeepThought, in this case version 2 indicator, to make these lines. So let's go through and see how we do that. What you want to do is, first you want to click the eye so it's visible, and we know it's visible because we have our order blocks here. These shaded areas are order blocks. But we need to go tell it to turn on the lines. So we go into settings, we go to input, and we go show current plan markup template. And that's going to draw these lines here, and it's going to be based on the current day candle. So what you see Chris do is make a vertical line on the candle. Now, let's say he stopped there. It's not necessarily going to help him, because once you stop there and turn the lines off, they're gone. right? So you have no history. These lines only exist at the moment, at the price that it is right now. So what Chris then needs to do is make some horizontal lines that overlay these DeepThought indicator lines. And the way he does that is, well, I'll show you the way I do it because I don't have his way memorized. What I do is I take this trend line and I start where the intersection of the blue is and just draw over to the right. Now, I go and I then tell this line that I want it to be an ATR line, which really just means it has a particular color and it starts with a particular text. So I go into my settings and I choose template. In this case, it was, I think, the 2 ATR. I just click this fella right here, and that gives me this text that says +2 ATR. Now, I'm going to go into my text, and I'm going to add in whatever the price was. Because I calculated it based on ATR, I know that 2 ATR in this case is current price, which is going to be up in the top left, about 458 bucks, we'll call it. And it's going to be +2 ATR in this case because I'm at roll point 2. So $458 plus 2 times this number right here. Watch what this number comes up when I put my mouse over the blue line. 16.79. So 458 plus 2 times 16.79 is about 492.23. I'm not doing the math. I don't have to. It's literally on my screen. But that's how it works. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to put 492.23. And that tells me when my price gets above that line, if I was Chris, I'd be looking for a roll. I'd be going to the options chain. I'd be looking at every single one of the options criteria and then performing my roll. Now, let's say I need to make a 6 ATR. How do I make a template? I don't want to make this thing every single time, make this text every single time. So I'm going to make a template. I'm going to put in the text that I'm interested in. I just said 6 ATR. And I want my 6 ATR for whatever reason to be purple. Once I have it the way I want it, I'm going to go to template. I'm going to do save as. I'm going to give it a name, +6 ATR. What do you say we leave the $sign in there too? It's just the name of the template. We're going to hit save. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, if I want to use that template again, I need to make a line. Just a line in a random place at this moment because I didn't get out my calculator and I didn't do the math yet. I need to tell that line that I want it to be the 6 ATR line. I'm going to click template. And I'm going to go down here to where I typed in 6 ATR. And boom, it's going to make the text exactly what I wanted it to be. Then I'm going to change the position of the bar. Let's say, that's a great example. Let's say I forgot my lines. And I don't have my DeepThought indicator lines up because now it's the next day, right? So now I need this 6 ATR line to be where it would have been drawn yesterday. I go to the line, I go to settings, and I run my calculation. I know that I got in at, we said $458, and I know I'm trying to get my 6 ATR line. I'm going to watch right here. I'm going to hover over the blue line, and I'm going to calculate. The price I got in, $458, plus 6 times the ATR, which 16.79. Look right here. 16.79, right? Run that calculation, and I'm going to type that in, whatever that number happens to be. I don't know what the number is. Let's say it's 490. I'm just going to type it right in right here, 490. It's certainly not 490 because that's below. Anyway, it's an example, right? So now I've got my line for 6 ATR right there. Now, let's see. I typically leave these lines a few candles out. I purposefully use the, what do they call it? Trend line, right? I purposefully use the trend line. And I do that because a ray goes forever. I find it messy. If I pick ray, it goes forever. Well, 6 months down the road, I probably don't care where the end of this line is. So I do not choose Ray. I choose Trendline. It allows me to make the length of this line as long as I need it to be. So if this thing goes sideways for a while, I may need my line way out here.
Yep.
Or if I, rocket through the first half ATR or 1 ATR right out of the gate, I don't need it way over there. Maybe I just needed it over here. So I use trend lines. I think Chris is using Rays. So, just do what's comfortable for you, what you find value in. But that's how it works. You're going to use your DeepThought indicator. You're going to show the plan markup at the time you make the trade. You can't wait 4 days because these lines are in a different place. You have to do it on the day and at the time you do the trade. And then don't forget to put your lines in manually through template, whatever you're comfortable with, basically immediately. Now, it's not the end of the day if you forget. All you have to do is get out your calculator. All you have to know is the price that you paid and the day you traded. If you know your entry price, you can calculate your -2 ATR daily stop. It's just the entry price minus 2 times ATR. Remember, ATR is right here. If you don't have it, just go up to indicators and find average true range. If you don't have the DeepThought, you can't search for it here. You need to go to Discord. ATR indicator is made by somebody else. The DeepThought indicator is made by DeepThought. It's in Discord. The outlier value zone indicator made by DeepThought is in Discord. That's why you can't find them by searching for them. You need to be a member and you need to be going to Discord to get those.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me back up because we've had a couple questions on this, and I want to clarify some differences between TradingView and Thinkorswim from what you just talked about. So there is no easy way to add in the template that Joe just used in TradingView in Thinkorswim. I have already tried to go through that multiple times, trying to find some good ways to do that. There's no way. The problem is if you put on ATRs on the price, it ends at the price. It ends at that candle for that day. There is no easy way to extend things to the right for studies. And that's part of the problem. Thinkorswim also doesn't have easy templates to use. Thinkorswim, you really have to think about, is 20 years old in the user interface. Now, that doesn't make it bad because where they've put their money is in the back-end analysis. And that's where, to me, the real horsepower of Thinkorswim is. So they behave very differently in that regard. I'll take the simple user interface and have the complex calculations, on the back end of it a little bit easier. So we going through a couple questions here. Somebody said they don't have the 3 ATR. We have another video, and I know Joe will link it somewhere in the comments here. And, when we get it all done, we did another video where we walked through my indicator. Every one of the labels on that indicator is custom. You get to design it based on your rules. The only one up there that is fixed is the actual ATR, the white label ATR indicator. That's the only one that I've got on there that is fixed. And that's, just like Joe showed at the bottom of his screen, that's the ATR value. So again, if you forget to log everything in, you just got to figure out what your purchase price was and then go in and add in, do the math. So, you bought it at $20 and the ATR is $1. So the one ATR is 21, 22, 23, et cetera, and then 18 if that's your rules for exit. So we've got all of that in, but it is completely customizable in the settings for what you as a trader want to set those values up as, because everybody's different. For a while, I was running the half ATR to roll. I'm not doing that anymore. Not that I'm not rolling there. I'm just not marking that on my chart. And I'll show you why in a second. I want to see more movement. I want to get past the bid-ask spread. I want to make sure I'm really healthy in profit before I start looking. I'm actually looking at a little different way to roll here. But that was one of the things that was on there Let me see.
Yep, and the video you mentioned, Dave, is just in the OVTLYR training playlist. And it's this video here, custom Thinkorswim indicator for outliers. That's where we got the initial introduction to Dave's indicator. He went through step-by-step installing it, I believe. He did labels. He did, you know, all the indicator factors that he kind of covered here and has now since upgraded to with his latest version.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be upgraded again soon, publicly.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I'd see one here. Trend lines are 2 points. Yes, they are two points. And the way I deal with that is if I'm grabbing my line, see how it tilts, just like you're mentioning. What I do is I hold shift. No matter where I put it, that doggone thing is horizontal. And once I have it placed in a horizontal state, when I tell it where I actually bought or where I've calculated I need the price to be, I just do both prices, 0.1 and 0.2. All right. So 0.1 is this guy. 0.2 is this guy. I just make them equal. So it starts out horizontal because I use shift. It stays horizontal because I put the price in 2 boxes. And again, it's really up to your personal preference. This person says razor a bit quicker. Yeah, they definitely are. I just like the clarity of the charts, just literally personal preference.
Yeah. And truly, you know, TradingView has got a great way to lock it horizontal. I just double checked on my end on Thinkorswim. Thinkorswim doesn't do that. You have an angle. You can, you know, play with the math and all of that stuff. But I just simply use the straight dollar, straight line when I do that. And then I go in label and I have it, again, I have it customized as a default. So I know what my settings are. You know, you'll see dashed lines on my chart. You'll see solid lines. Solid lines are things I did. I bought, I rolled, I sold, if I want to put a sold number on there. Dashed lines are, you should consider, you're at a new level. You're at the 2 ATR. Should you do something? Or it's just notification. But that's, again, that's my system. That's how what works for me. The ATR values are color coded. So I can look at a glance and just see, hey, wait, we went from the white to the cayenne. That's a good sign. And then we rotate it back to white, and then cayenne, red, man, hard. Think about it.
They should get progressively more green.
Yeah, I want it progressively green. If there's something that I just want to put a notice up, I see an order block in Bookmap because I use Bookmap. If I see something else and say, you know, I wanted to get above this point, I put a yellow line. That to me is saying, hey, don't do anything. This is caution, yellow light, slow down. You know, think about what you're doing. So there's a lot of great tools in both systems to be able to customize it to what you want. So
yeah, exactly.
We had a question on the value zone. Right now, this is set in Thinkorswim to 3 on the value zone. So 3 ATRs for that. Again, customizable. You don't like 3, dial it down to 2. And yes, I have it set up so that when it gets extreme, it starts flashing at me. It starts giving me a red label saying, maybe you should get out. Maybe we're overextended. Because at that point, that's something I want to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it won't continue up, but it could continue down or go sideways.
Right. And if you keep a good portfolio tracker, you keep good data in your journal, you can then go back and test that theory, right? Whether you took the trade or not, if you capture data, you can go back and back test and prove, you know, was I right when, for instance, Fear and Greed on Tesla got to 90? When it got to 90, I thought, you know what, this thing is far too greedy. And whether or not I traded it, I recorded that fact. I kept some data in my journal. Now I can go back and back test it. Maybe I want to put in a signal in my screener that says, when a stock goes above 89, I'm not interested in it. Don't show it to me. You know, these are all things you could back test as they come into your mind. As you become a experienced trader, you can go ahead and test those theories out.
Exactly. And this is why, you know, that journaling is so critical. Figure out, what are your entry points? What are your exit points? What worked? What didn't work? Where was it? You know, it worked, but man, I only got 1 day in the trade before I had to exit because I entered at 79 and it hit 80 and then started, you know, pulling back. Every stock behaves differently. And that is really the key. There are no two equities that behave the same. And understanding that makes a huge, huge difference.
Yep, exactly.
Now, if we got a little bit.
Yeah.
Let
me steal just for a second. Again, if you're a new customer to OVTLYR and you're trying to figure out where on earth do I start, this is a great video. Your first trend trading steps with OVTLYR. It's in our OVTLYR training playlist. It's in the same exact playlist that you just saw us mentioning, the custom Thinkorswim outliers. So all of these kind of beginner videos, these foundational videos, they're all going to be kept in this same playlist. So go ahead and watch as many of these as you have time to. It'll definitely answer a bunch of your questions. And so Dave, what were you going to show us?
I want to talk about the Analyze tab a little bit. Things are pulling back right now. We see this. Anybody in a trade, we need to pay attention now to what's happening. So I'm in the Analyze. I wish my alerts would stop coming in. I'm in the Analyze tab right now up on the top of Thinkorswim. Okay. Now, because we talked about Tesla, I'm going to use Tesla as a quick example. So let's say I want to go buy Tesla and I don't have Delta listed here. So we're just going to say Delta. Let's just pick a good number here. Actually, this one's looking reasonably good. So let's buy the 390 strike. Okay. What I did is I'm entering a simulated trade up on top. So let me back up. We'll do that again. So we're under Analyze. I clicked Add a Simulated Trade. I am going to buy this one. And let's say we buy, I don't know, 5. Okay. I'm not hitting anything else except the risk profile. Okay. So now we're analyzing this trade for Tesla. And we have it checked down here. It's green, meaning it's a buy signal. We haven't taken this trade yet, but we can now see what our break even is. Let's zoom in. Come on. There we go. So we're going to zoom in. The purple line is where we are today. And that's important. The blue line, the cayenne line, is where you are at the expiration of your option. So, and of course, it's going to keep moving on me. To break even on this, we see a little red hash line here. This gray line is our 0. So to break even, I need the price to be 426, 23, 25, right in that range. Okay, so I would have to gain, where are we at on Tesla right now? We're at 425.62. So we got to gain, heck, we're going up a little bit because of the price. Tesla moves quite a bit, but we got to be at 425.91 to break even right now. Whoops, there we go. We have to be just a little bit higher, but at the expiration of that option, I got to be all the way out at let's just say 438 to break even on this option at expiration. This is that, decay that we see. That's the theta burn. That's the premium we're paying for it when you run the math out. So it gives you an idea of what it's going to take. Down here, you have the slices. So let's say the center one is unlocked. That means it's the current price of, right now, this second. But let's say, how much will I make if Tesla gains 5%? So we have that built in here. We come down here. I would make $8,000 if Tesla goes up 5%. I would also lose right now $7,000, $7,500 if Tesla goes down 5%. And that's where the delta matters. The delta as it goes down is going to go lower and lower versus going higher and higher when you go up. So options, slow down your loss a little bit in the descent. Doesn't make it any better, but they lose value usually a little bit slower than they gain value based on that delta change. So this is just a quick option to see, hey, what could I make if Tesla goes up $2, if it goes from, how much would I make? You can see right on the screen there, I would make, basically about $700, $800. Of course, now it moves again. Let's go up to let's just say 430. If it goes up to 430, I'm going to make $1,700. which is great. Or if it goes down to 420, I'm going to lose 1900. Helps give you an idea maybe where your exit is. If you're 2 ATR, you know what that price is. You can punch it in and say, you know, I want a price here. I don't want percentage. I want a price of, you know, some value. You can change that and see how it impacts you. But let's go look at a current trade that I'm in. So if we bring up TE, I'm in this right now. And right now, the market has had a pullback of about 40 cents on TE since we started the podcast. Right now, my break even for PE for this trade, my break even is we'll call it 908, 910, right in that range. 909. I would make $7 on this trade at 909. Now, this is one I've already rolled. This is a trade that's healthy. It's in profit. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But this gives me a quick visual on what my break even is. You know, let's come into another trade here real quick. This is another one that I'm in, SPY. I got to click the options down here. You know, this one, it's not dancing at my exit, but it's not far from it. My break even right now is up at 690, let's just say 700, 699 on this trade. And again, this is another one I rolled. It's not out of money. It's just not as much money as I had before. But it gives me a quick visual reference to say, man, am I going to be able to get this thing up $10 more between now and the expiration date of February 21st, right here, February 21st, when my option expires? You know, I need that $10 back in that price between now and the option expiration to break even in this trade. Now, I don't worry about it with 3 weeks to go. Where I start worrying about it is about the 10-day mark. You know, mid next week, I'm going to start really looking at this and say, man, what is my probability here that I'm going to be able to recoup that, gain that back with the time I have remaining in the trade? So it's a really good way to just visualize and look at it. You know, now if the SPY jumps up to 759, man, I'm looking great on these 4 contracts. That's wonderful. I will take that every day of the week. It's also not reality. We know that. You know, we're not going to see a really a 70-point move in the SPY in the next 3 weeks. It's not real. You know, but could we see a 3% move? Yeah, absolutely. In which case this little position might make some money. But, you know, could I also see a 3% pullback? Yeah, absolutely. And that gets ugly. So yeah. It's a great, the Analyze tab is a great risk management tool. If you went in and traded anything, here's Google. I am going to this, and I'm playing on the live side here, so I'll slow down a bit. So let's say we buy the 80 Delta, it's 305. Actually, let's go buy this one. Let's buy the 82 Delta. This is a live trade. If I was going to take this, you can come down here to the 3 lines all the way over on the right, click on that and go to Analyze Trade. And now it'll punch that trade into your Analyze tab. So this is just one of those really good tools I encourage everybody to play with. Here's kind of a fun thing. If you go to the probability analysis, what is the probability? And it's plus and minus. So it's, you know, it's a parabolic curve here that you have. You know, what's the probability that it will hit by 320? It'll be at 395. Well, it's a 15% chance you'll be above this line. And it's an 83% chance you'll be somewhere between here. Some people use this. I don't actually get into this too much. I just look at the Analyze tab because I want to see where my break even is. I want to see, you know, am I losing ground with the theta versus where the price is? Do I still have the ability to recover, or is it just not going to recover at all? But it's got some great, great tools. Another tool, if you're not using it, is Market Watch and Visualize. And this gives you everything in the market. It gives you a great view what's happening. And right now, you know, it's weighted by market cap. So NVIDIA, Microsoft, Broadcom, Google, Apple, it's not looking great today. And we see that because we're down $5.16 right now in the SPY.
Is Market Watch part of your indicator, or is it? Is there? Okay.
It's built All of these things are built into Thinkorswim desktop with no modifications on my end at all.
Okay, awesome.
And we got a couple other questions here. Do I use multiple charts or do you add and remove studies? I build charts, and we can do this in a whole separate video. I build charts that are topical. So I have S&P 500, the top 12. I have mid caps top 12. I have small caps top 12. I have aviation, oil. You know, I have built a whole bunch of screens, but then I use the charting, the chart tools. I use this, and this is set up for our video today. It doesn't have what I normally have, but I have this set up here on every screen. So I can click a button and I can change the way it looks. I can roll in all new studies. I can do everything else with a single click of the button. And you can have it be applying to all of the screens on one master chart, all of the individual charts on one screen, I should say, or just one individual chart. So you can change it. But this is something much more detailed we can get into, but it gives me an ability to click one button. And like my monitor, I don't want a bunch of labels for the day. I just have it sitting up there watching what the stocks are doing. I've got one button, I click, it clears all the data, all the labels and everything off, and it just leaves my charts with the EMAs. So I can sit there, I can glance up, say, yep, we're, you know, coming down today, or we're going up, or, you know, something simple like that to monitor. So there's a lot of good tools for user interface to help with your flow in how you do it. That just is what works for me. I like to see sectors. I like to see the individual ones topically. So, you know, aviation, whatever the topic is, I can see, because then I look at I can see what the order flow is. I can see if we're having sector rotation. I can kind of see what's happening in the overall market.
Well, very cool, Dave. I think that's a good spot to wrap us up here.
I think so.
So we learned how to get from the OVTLYR.com webpage into Ovtlyr. We learned how to get to the user guide, where we can get definitions of things like the heat map and how to use the screens in Ovtlyr and what they're trying to tell us. We learned that Plan M is for swing signals. If we want to be a more active trader, we could use Plan A, which is active signals. But you won't see Chris trading Plan A. He will be trading M, ETF, and sit in cash. We learned how to check the market and make sure the market is trending up. We have our 3 SPY signals, which is bullish trend, buy signal, and fear and greed under 70 and rising. And we also have the full stocks market breadth. Now, you're not going to have those memorized as a new customer. So you're going to go to Discord. You're going to go to the FAQ and member contributions area, and you're going to grab the slide deck. Or even easier, if you look at any video created in 2026 on Chris's channel or the training channel, in the description, you will find the slide deck. You will also find the worksheet, which is a portfolio manager. It lists every single one of Chris's trades in the 2026 U.S. Investing Championship. So great resources. It's amazing to me that it's free. It's amazing the value that Ovtlyr brings. I personally bought into it. I took a flyer and it has paid off brilliantly. And I've made some amazing friends, let alone university students, but some amazing friends through this journey. And I'm happy all you guys are here. And I'm glad Dave was here to give us a little tour of the Thinkorswim indicator that he built, as well as some of the other indicators built in already, like the Market Watch. That was one you taught me, Dave. I didn't know the Market Watch tab was there. I typically go to TradingView to get that same screen, but now that I know it's in Thinkorswim, I've got options.
There is so much buried in Thinkorswim. You know, you just have to know where to go look for it. I mean, it will tell you everything.
Exactly. And if you're a Schwab customer and you're using Thinkorswim, you can paper trade for free inside Thinkorswim. And the video that I mentioned a bit ago, custom Thinkorswim indicator for outliers, Dave is in Thinkorswim in paper making trades. So you would actually see the steps that you would take, the buttons you would click to actually make market orders and limit orders and mark up the trade based on Dave's indicator. So great video. And great session, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Session. Definitely. Happy to do it. Happy to do it.
All right. See you guys later.
Take care.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go! Load up the charts, it's time to win bigly. 10 over 20, price over 50. Signals are popping, the class says, whoop, everybody level up. Good trade, follow through. Bad trade, broke the rules. Stick to your system, see it come true. Level your mind, outlier you. Your plan fits you, that's a secret key. Lifestyle, rhythm, personality. Wins don't matter if your head's off cue. Bad trades made profit, but they still break you. No discount deals when the chart turns red. Downtrend prices ain't sales, that's dead. Math don't care how you want it to move. MA's crossing, that's the clue. Trends gotta move, price gonna choose. Discipline is born, ready to lose. Class in session, tighten that view. Stick to your system, outlier you. The trade, follow through. Bad trade, broke the rules. Stick to your system, see it come true. Level your mind, outlier you. Mind stay steady, that's how you grow. Process beats feelings, that's how pros roll. Good trade, bad trade, you already know. Follow your rules when the pressure gets low. Charts don't lie, math gonna fly. When the heat map flips, we go sky high. Outlier you to the day we die. Good trade, follow through. Bad trade, broke the rules. Stick to your system, see it come true. Level your mind.